Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This week is for organic. In fact, next 2 weeks are this mighty chapter called organic chemistry. Before we study organic, let's understand what exactly this organic means. Organic is something that pure, created by the nature. And in organic chemistry, we are going to study hydrocarbons. Organic chemistry is the study of hydrocarbons. Organic chemistry is what? It is a study of hydrocarbons. पहले दिखेंगे बाद में लिखेंगे, पहले देखेंगे और बाद में लिखेंगे. Study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives. Study of hydrocarbons. What are hydrocarbons? Anyone in the class? Hydrocarbons are the compounds contain carbon and hydrogen atoms only. So what are hydrocarbons again? Hydrocarbons are the compounds contains carbon and hydrogen atoms only. So आपने only का वर्ड पे तो पूरा फोर्स डाल दी जिसका मैंने डाला, इसको बोल्ड में लिखना है तो एग्जामिनर को पता चले कि भाई ये actually understand the concept of hydrocarbon. It is those type of compound that primarily made up of carbon and hydrogen atom. No matter how many carbon and how many hydrogen atom do you have, if it contain only carbon and hydrogens, they are called hydrocarbons. Now, the study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives, something that is made up of hydrocarbon, मतलब hydrocarbon ने किसी चीज से reaction किया और कोई नई चीज बन गई. Now that derivative should not essentially be hydrocarbon, लेकिन उसको hydrocarbon से बना होना चाहिए. Okay, let me write few examples and I want you to identify which of these are hydrocarbons. So what do you think about the first example? Is this hydrocarbon? Yes. Is this a hydrocarbon?
Yes.
Yes, it contains only carbon and hydrogen. Is this a hydrocarbon? It contains carbon and hydrogens. So is this a hydrocarbon?
No.
Why? Because it
Because
contains.
it has oxygen.
Excellent. So whenever something contains any atom other than carbon and hydrogen, it is not a hydrocarbon. This is not a hydrocarbon, right? So this is not a hydrocarbon, and of course this is also hydrocarbon. So I hope आपको बड़ी basic सी definition समझ आ गई. Something that contains carbon and hydrogen atoms only, it is called hydrocarbon. Now, for example, we have CH4 and we reacted it with Cl. It replaces Cl2, chlorine Cl2 होता है. It replaces one of the hydrogen, and chlorine ने एक hydrogen को replace किया, and you got HCl as the other product. Now this is not a hydrocarbon. Is this a hydrocarbon? No, because it contains an atom other than hydrogen and carbon, which is chlorine. But this is a derivative of hydrocarbon because ये बना कब से? ये एक hydrocarbon से ही तो बना है. So hydrocarbon reacts with something to form a compound which are called derivative of it. So what is organic chemistry? It is the study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives. Correct? Now, what is the source? ये आते कहां से? क्या चीज है ये भाई? कहां से आते हैं ये हाइड्रोकार्बन्स? आते कहां से हैं? Sources of hydrocarbons. Now the biggest source of hydrocarbon is petroleum. Which is जिसको हम crude oil भी कह सकते हैं. Crude oil, the same thing. The main source of hydrocarbon. So it is the petroleum that is the main source of hydrocarbons. But what exactly is this petroleum even? Petroleum, I hope आप सब लोग मेरी बात सुन रहे हैं. अच्छा, ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री में ना पहले 2-3 लेसन आर एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज ये बाकी चैप्टर से थोड़ा डिफरेंट इस वजह से बिकॉज इसका टोटल ये फैमिली ही डिफरेंट है. केमिस्ट्री में ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री इलेक्ट्रो है, मेटल्स है, वो चैप्टर्स अगर आप एक आधा लेसन मिस भी करें तो सेंस बनती है। इसके अगर पहले 2-3 चैप्टर क्लासेस आप मिस करते हैं या आप प्रॉब्लम करते हैं तो देन देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम। इनिशियल इजी, इट्स वेरी इजी, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। आप इंशाल्लाह देखेंगे जिस तरह इलेक्ट्रोकेमिस्ट्री हमने बहुत इजी बनाई है, ये उससे भी ज्यादा इजी होगी एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर रेगुलर एंड यू आर पेइंग अटेंशन। सो व्हाट इज पेट्रोलियम? पेट्रोलियम इज मिक्सचर ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन। क्योंकि ये सोर्स ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन है तो डेफिनेटली इसी के अंदर हाइड्रोकार्बन होंगे ना भाई। पेट्रोलियम इज मिक्सचर ऑफ वेरियस डिफरेंट हाइड्रोकार्बन्स। Now, since petroleum contains different variety of hydrocarbons, the next task is to separate each different hydrocarbon from that mixture. So now, वो आपसे कहेगा, how do you separate the mixture? So the mixture of hydrocarbons, this mixture of hydrocarbons is separated by a technique. कौन सी technique help us to get the soluble fractions? When something is soluble, two soluble चीजें हैं, how do you separate the soluble fractions that are soluble into each other, that are miscible? For example, oil and water and alcohol. How would you separate water from alcohol? Anyone in the class? How do you separate the miscible substances? किसी को पता नहीं है इसका? खुदा का खौफ कर लो यार। भाई, there is a technique called fractional distillation. So a mixture of hydrocarbon is separated by experimental technique called fractional distillation. Now we know that this technique works. ये कैसे separate करती है? This technique separates the component. भाई कोई प्रिंसिपल होता है ना जिस बेसिस पे सेपरेट करती है. Separates the component of mixture based on their boiling point. कैसे डिफरेंट करती है? Based on their boiling points. So we know that if we are given with a mixture, we start heating, जिसका boiling point सबसे low होगा, it will be boiled first because उसका boiling point सबसे low है. जिसका boiling point सबसे low है, वो सबसे पहले boil होगी and it will be collected at the top of that fractionating tower. So please इसको check करेंगे सब लोग. I want everyone to revise, starting with organic chemistry, the study of hydrocarbon and their derivative. So what are hydrocarbon? They are the compound contain carbon and hydrogen atoms only. Sources include crude oil, which is the main source of hydrocarbon. And we know that crude oil में क्या होता है? Crude oil is actually mixture. Petroleum and crude oil are basically both the same. Crude oil or mixture contains the same, I mean, different, it's a mixture of hydrocarbons होता है इसके अंदर. And how do we separate different fractions of hydrocarbons? Using a technique called, क्या कहते हैं इस technique को? Fractional distillation, which separates all the fractions based on their boiling point in an apparatus called fractionating tower. So let's apply. Okay, so fractional distillation of petroleum. अच्छा, ये जो फ्रैक्शन डिस्टिलेशन हमने करनी है, we will do this entire fractional distillation inside a tower called fractionating tower. So please check this tower. You know I'm good at drawing better than you all. So इस तरह का कुछ भी बना लेना है आपने. पता नहीं क्या बना दिया मैंने. Sure. इस तरह का, right? Okay. ऐसे करते हैं. अच्छा, अब इसको हमने हर जगह से थोड़ा थोड़ा ओपन कर देते हैं, थोड़ा सा ड्रैग करके नीचे। ये अजान हो रही है, बस 1 मिनट, आप कुछ साथ साथ बनाए डायग्राम। इसको चेक करें सब लोग। ऑल राइट, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आई होप आप सब लोग सुन रहे हैं, इधर ही है, राइट? इधर ही है, ओके। सो when you heat the crude oil, everyone, you put the crude oil from one side of the fractionating tower, you heat at a certain point, and each fraction, based on its boiling point, absorb energy and boil. Now we can see that the fraction that is boiled off first is refinery gas and collected at the top. So जो सबसे पहले boil होती है उसका boiling point सबसे low होगा या सबसे high होगा? The fraction that is boiled off first. Do you think, what do you think about its boiling point? Would it have low boiling point or high boiling point? The one on the top. It would have low boiling point. So इसका मतलब ये है कि the column, यहाँ पे top of column must have low temperature, सबसे low temperature यहाँ होगा, and this would have the highest boiling point, which is bitumen. So bottom of the column must have the high temperature, in fact the highest temperature, right? So bottom of the column must have highest temperature and the top of the column must have low temperature. Now each fraction based on its boiling point is separated from the mixture of hydrocarbon called crude oil, and we can use each fraction for its specific purpose. You can see that the first gas, which is labeled as refinery gas with the lowest boiling point, is used as domestic fuel in the kitchen. The gas which is called gasoline or petrol, it is used for the fuel in vehicles, in the cars. Naphtha is the third chemical which is used to make different chemicals like paint or in different industries. So basically it is used as a raw material to make chemical. So chemical feedstock. Kerosene or paraffin, it is used as jet fuel in jets. Diesel oil, और इसको gas oil भी कहते हैं, it is used in heavy engine. Diesel जो होता है वो heavy engines में डलता है. And then we have fuel oil, which is used बड़े बड़े ships में होता है. And ये heating system में जो central heating system होते हैं, home heating system, पाकिस्तान में तो वो ट्रेंड कम है. जो अपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी बिल्डिंग्स होती हैं, उनके अंदर एक सेंट्रल सिस्टम होता है. सो उसमें भी ये फ्यूल ऑयल यूज करता है. इनफैक्ट अब तो वो भी ये ओल्ड फैशन हो गया. एंड लुब्रिकेटिंग ऑयल, इफ यू आर यूजिंग फ्यूल कार, तो इंजन, एक तो पेट्रोल होता है ना जो हम इंजन को रन करने के लिए यूज करते हैं, एक ऑयल होता है जिसके अंदर इंजन के सारे पार्ट्स डिप होते हैं. जिस तरह इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस में हमने इलेक्ट्रोड पढ़ा था ना, इंजन के पार्ट्स को ड्राई नहीं होने देता, वो एक, उसको इंजन ऑयल कहते हैं. तो जो लुब्रिकेटिंग ऑयल है, इट इज यूज्ड एज इंजन ऑयल to make wax, to make polish. And the last fraction, that is called bitumen, it is used in road making, road surfacing. कभी आपने सोचा है कि जो सड़क होती है, रोड होता है, why they look black, and how the gravel, जिसको बजरी कहते हैं, and sand, they are like, कौन सा adhesive material है? It is the bitumen that act as adhesive material, smooth bond as in road. So it is used in road making. Please इसको copy करेंगे सब लोग. Before I explain this, the trends in the column, और हम trends study कर रहे हैं top to bottom. Okay, so when you go top to bottom, everyone, the fraction that is collected at the top, called refinery gas, it has the lowest number of carbon atoms. So जैसे आप ऊपर से नीचे आओगे, carbon chain increases. तो सबसे low carbon किसमें है? रिफाइनरी गैस में. तो विच फ्रैक्शन मस्ट हैव द हाईएस्ट कार्बन एटम्स? किसके पास सबसे ज्यादा कार्बन होने चाहिए? किसी को पता नहीं चला?
Bitumen.
ऊपर से बिटुमेन. एक्सीलेंट. अच्छा, विच फ्रैक्शन डू यू थिंक वुड हैव द हाईएस्ट बॉइलिंग पॉइंट? किसका बॉइलिंग पॉइंट सबसे हाई है? यस, एनीवन इन द क्लास?
Bitumen.
It's again bitumen. The one on the top has lowest. So ऊपर वाले में कार्बन चेन सबसे कम है. नीचे आते जाएंगे कार्बन चेन बढ़ेगी, डेंसिटी बढ़ेगी, विस्कोसिटी ऑलमोस्ट द सेम थिंग. फिजिक्स में आप डिफरेंस पढ़ोगे. इंक्रीजेस, कार्बन चेन इंक्रीज हो रही है, डेंसिटी, बॉइलिंग पॉइंट इंक्रीज हो रहा है. एक ही चीज है जो डिक्रीज होती है, एंड दैट इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. अच्छा, मुझे बताओ कि वी यूज रिफाइनरी गैस एज कुकिंग, नॉट एज बिटुमन. So we use refinery gas as cooking because it burn easily. जो हमारे किचन में गैस आती है. So जैसे जैसे कार्बन चेन इंक्रीज होगी, flammability decrease होगी. So as you go top to bottom, flammability decreases. Make sense everyone? भाई सबको हजम हो गई ये बात? So let's look at this important, and ये तो confirmed without guess, both from IG or O levels, a confirmed question for 3 to 4, in fact 5 marks. Minimum 3 marks तो हैं ही हैं, whatever you can see on your screen right now. इसके minimum इंशाल्लाह 3 marks actual पे, no matter if it is MCQ or T. So crude oil is mixture of various different hydrocarbons. It is heated in the fractionating tower, where each fraction is boiled on its specific boiling point. The fraction with the lowest boiling point distilled, boiled off first and collected at the top, followed by the second one, third, and we have 3. So the good thing is, I want everyone to learn this in order. तो order में ऐसे याद करना मुश्किल है. तो हम ये करते हैं, let's make a mnemonic with the first letter of every word. R, G, N, K, D, F, L, B. तो कुछ भी बनाएं इसका. R, क्या बनेगा न्यूमेरिक? जरा बनाए ना, गर्ल्स आर कैन हेल्प. R, G, N, K, D, F, L, B. Yes, तो सोच लें इसका. I mean, but the idea is you need to learn them in order. The way we studied the reactivity series, order में याद करनी है. Order में क्यों? Because अगर आप order में याद नहीं करोगे तो order change होगा तो carbon atom change हो जाएंगे, which is not true. So we need to learn them in order. Sometime वो आपको सारी दे देगा, 2-3 मिस कर देगा, तो आपने order में याद किए होंगे, तो only then you will be able to write the answer. So let's revise the use of each gas. Refinery had the lowest boiling point, least viscous, least number of carbon atoms, and highly flammable. ऐसा ही कहा मैंने. If you look at the trends which are right there, if you look at these trends, everyone, extremely important. So what are these trends? Trend says as you move top to bottom, the carbon chain increases, the viscosity increases, the boiling point increases, but the flammability decreases, right? So वो आपसे पूछ सकता है, name the fraction used as jet fuel. तो हमें पता होना चाहिए jet fuel में कौन सी fraction है. Paraffin, yes, को kerosene भी कहते हैं. Fraction used as road making, bitumen. Fraction with the highest carbon atom, bitumen. Fraction with highest flammability, the one on the top, refinery gas. Make sense, everyone? Yes. भाई कोई मुश्किल चीज तो नहीं है ना? I think it's easy. So what we studied today, we started with organic, everyone. It is the study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives. Hydrocarbons are the compounds contains carbon and hydrogen atoms only. Iman, I hope आपने थोड़ा सा late join किया, but this makes sense. Yes, Iman. आवाज आ रही है सबको मेरी? I think it was stuck for a second. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So hydrocarbon are the compound entirely based on carbon and hydrogens. What is the main source of hydrocarbon? It is the petroleum, what's also known as crude oil. It is the main source of hydrocarbon. What is crude oil? It is mixture of hydrocarbon. How do we separate the mixture? A technique called fractional distillation. How does this works? It works on the difference of the boiling point of each fraction. The fraction with the lowest boiling point will be distilled off first and collected at the top. तो कल जब आप लोग मुझे मिलें, प्लीज आपको ये सब कुछ ऑर्डर में यूजेस के साथ याद होना चाहिए. विल मेक इट इजी. आप अपने लिए आसानी करेंगे इंशाल्लाह. स्कूल्स में आई डोंट नो आप लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया या नहीं. मेरे स्कूल में तो मैंने सब बच्चों को एक करवा दिया हुआ है, बट अगर आपने अभी नहीं किया तो दिस एन एडेड बेनिफिट. स्कूल में यू विल फील confident when the teacher will be teaching this very topic. So in next 2 weeks we will complete this entire topic, which is the most extensive one O level in IGCSE chemistry with past papers. See you tomorrow, everyone. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Bye bye.